Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our nightly edition of BBC News. Tonight, we will be talking about an occurrence that I'm sure all of you have heard about the past few months, and that is ISIS. The faction that started out as a small military group has grown into something far greater and much worse. It started out as all movements do, with disagreement. The religion of Islam is split into two groups, the Shiites and the Sunnis. The Shiites were the majority of the religion for centuries, but the Sunni never agreed with their teachings and wanted to change. However, not all disagreements are for the better. This conflict resulted in people who followed the Sunni point of view rising up and taking control of the region. The now powerful military group that started off as almost nothing is currently taking over large parts of the Middle East every day and spreading their beliefs with bloodshed and death. ISIS wants to create their own caliphate, or Islamic State based on their views, and people from various countries are joining in their deadly movement every day. Now, we all know about ISIS, but what we don't know is how it compares to other past revolutions and movements. One of these it compares to is the famous French Revolution. Take it away, Jimmy.
Well, thank you, Tony. The French Revolution, as we know it, is one of the bloodiest revolutions of all time. The inequality of the estates, the debt, and monarchy all led to this huge revolt that makes France's background one of the most interesting of all countries. Starting in 1789, leading into a decade of intense fighting and backfires, it ended in the late 1790s. The French social structure was made up of three estates, consisting of the clergy, monarchy, and the largest estate being the poorest estate of the common people. After countless years of oppression from the French monarchy, such as taxes that skyrocketed so high that a month's pay would buy you one loaf of bread, people wanted a change. The third estate was also the only estate that was taxed, and being the poorest estate, they could not fill the country's debt. The French common people soon began to stir, and soon, once a monstrous prison known as the Bastille became nothing but brick and ashes. As the third estate began destructing the ages-old government brick by brick, France began to lose control as the revolutions began to destroy everything that had to do with the monarchy and other estates. The French officials, known as the Jacobins, became so paranoid that they'd be overthrown again. They turned to a famous execution mechanism called the guillotine. From there, France became a disturbing place where the innocent would die more than the guilty. This period was known as the Reign of Terror. France, therefore, went back to its old monarchy with new ideas that ultimately failed. For years afterwards, France struggled to create a sustaining government that everyone liked. Back to you, Tony.
Thanks for talking, Jimmy. BBC time is 10:16. These two revolutions were in completely different time periods, but are still similar in many ways. For example, both are using bloodshed to get their way and prove a point. ISIS is constantly executing people and destroying villages and towns to take control, while the people of the French Revolution did the same. They used force to take command and destroy many buildings and monuments such as the Bastille to prove their point. Because these two revolutions used bloodshed and destruction, they also used people as examples by executing them. ISIS beheads people and shoots them in mass killings nearly every day, while during the Reign of Terror, the revolutionists would send anyone who had different views to die on the guillotine. Fear is a huge factor in various situations, and these revolutions use plenty of it. Many revolutions also involve messed up governments, and this was the case in both here. In the French Revolution, the monarchy government was very corrupt and had too much power, which led the people to eventually revolt. This is very much the same with ISIS because the fact that the whole region has bad government and rulers in the first place led to factions like ISIS rising up and revolting. Lastly, every movement has leaders, for the better or for the worse. In this case, both have had bad leaders influencing the people. In the French Revolution, Robespierre, the leader of the revolutionists, supported the fact that if you don't agree with us, you should die on the guillotine. ISIS is very much the same way, as the various generals and captains of the armies are killing innocent people to take power. As everyone says, with great power comes great responsibility. These leaders clearly aren't showing that and didn't show that.
were very right in all your comparisons, Tony. But these revolutions are also different in certain ways, too. One of these main differences is that ISIS is motivated by religion, and the French Revolution wasn't. ISIS wants a change in Islam and the teachings of it, while people in the French Revolution just wanted the government to be remade. Along with this, there were different government systems involved in each. While monarchy was obviously involved in the French Revolution, dictators and cults are what is driving ISIS, not royal lines.
Altogether, ISIS and the French Revolution are two very important events that changed and are still changing the world. Both have equally important meanings to all of us. For now, we can only hope that the events in the Middle East are turned around for the better soon. Until next time, this is Tony Gigawatts and Jimmy Scrufflepants signing off. Have a good night and stay safe.